2. So I'm Dr. Anlin Lopez or Honey Lopez, your course coordinator. So this is the Department of Pediatrics for UERM. So actually, we're one of the earliest departments in the Philippines. And as a university hospital, no, we make sure that we have the highest level of accreditation. So currently, we're at the level 4 of the Philippine Pediatric Society hospital accreditation. And of course, most of your faculty are renowned um, pediatricians in their chosen subspecialties. So we'll be seeing them around in the different areas and lectures and your for your preceptorials. So for our consultant staff, our department chair is actually here, Dr. Jacqueline D. Bernabe. So, uh, so she's actually the previous pediatrics to coordinator. So she's also here to guide uh to guide us all in this orientation as well.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dr. Lopez.
Ayan, okay. So there, that's Dr. Bernabe. And then for the training of the residents, we also have Dr. Cherry Duque. And these are some of the senior consultant staff that we have. So some of them will likely be your preceptors, and also some will be lecturers. Okay. So if you were able to attend the memorial lecture earlier this year, so it was Dr. Victor Doctor who delivered the memorial lecture which was on fluid and electrolytes. So yeah, so it was pretty interesting. And then of course, Dr. Jose B. Salazar is our current chief of clinics. So uh yeah, so again, you'll be seeing them around. So this is the rest of the consultant staff. So again, um uh we have consultants from varied fields of subspecialties in pediatrics. So and since you were able to also have pediatrics 1, so some of you may be familiar. So some of these staff members were likely also your preceptors from last year. So for the clinical side of the department, we have our pediatric residents. So just so that you will be you're familiar as well when you do your interviews. So these are some of the residents that you might come across. So they'll also be supervising you when you do your ward work in either the ward or the outpatient department. And you also might be familiar with our secretary, so Mr. Aldrin Aldana. So if we have any correspondence or anything that you need to ask as well, you can also course it through Aldrin, especially with the document if there are any like physical documents that need to be submitted. So that's all with Aldrin. So yeah, since it's the start of a new school year, yeah, the College of Medicine and the Dean's Office came up with certain advisories on the new school year, academic year 2025 to 2026 for year levels 1 to 3. So in terms of the curriculum, so we'll still be employing our blended or flexible teaching learning strategies. So there are a mixture of face-to-face and online learnings. Um, Most didactic activities, which will be like your lectures, are going to use the online platforms. And then for your face-to-face session, so we'll do this for our purposes, your preceptorials or your small group discussions. And we will also be doing activities related to this. So of course, for your face-to-face activities, we should be following the health protocols of the institution. So better if you wear masks, especially if you're symptomatic, no? And then um refrain from attending class if you're experiencing certain symptoms, and you can coordinate with the infirmary in case your condition will require consult, and get clearance before reporting to class. So, yan. So, again, the wearing of face masks is still advised. So, the learning outcomes will still be retained. So, for the school calendar for the first semester, so um, I'm sure you already have these dates on your calendar. So of course these are very important because your exam schedule. So you'll have 3 long exams. And then yung for the deadline of the filing of LOA, it's on September 19. So again, some just to reiterate the advisory from the dean, for those who wish to go on an LOA before the start of the school year, so you have to submit the letter of request. Once it has started, again the deadline is September 19. So the maximum allowable LOA is 2 years, and no student may exceed the 6-year maximum residency period in the College of Medicine. Okay. So for your attendance and participation, so students are required to attend and participate starting this week. So if you miss 20% of the total number of hours in the course, if it's due to unexcused absences, this would merit a failure. If it's due to excused absences, it might also merit incomplete. So you should be present in all synchronous activities. So actually like this one, no, we're taking up the lecture time. So you must be present in the synchronous session, and then you take the summative quiz to be given during the preceptorial time. So for your preceptorials, you must attend all face-to-face sessions. So we'll be following the rules regarding attendance. So you will be considered absent if you're not present within the first 40 minutes of a 120-minute class. Most of our interactions will be 2 hours each. Eh. So I guess unless we announce like a shorter activity, so you'll have at least 40 minutes before you will be considered late. So you're late or tardy, or you will receive a half absent if you arrive in class during the first third fraction of the scheduled class. So this is based on your handbook. So again, let's go back to the memo from the dean's office. So in terms of the delivery of the curriculum, we'll still be using Canvas. Everything actually, I have to publish that for the pediatrics 2 course. I'll be doing that this weekend. So that the Canvas will include the course content, the syllabus, the schedules of your online sessions and examinations, and also the learning material. So the faculty will upload the learning materials ahead of the published schedules. So I'll be managing the discussion board also. If you have any questions or concerns, um, and then all students can access the e-library and other resources. And then you have your email account. So this is important in accessing everything that you need. So, um, during our online synchronous sessions, such as now, we're using the Zoom platform. So you're required to turn on your videos during these sessions. And then use your UERM account. So when you attend your synchronous sessions, you should be in your proper uniform. So attendance will be checked both online and face to face. So for the checking of the attendance, I think also Aldrin reminded everyone, no, you will be typing your name in the chat box for the checking of the attendance. So, okay. Other technical requirements. So to fully engage in the learning strategy, so you'll need regular access to a computer with an internet connection. So better to use like high speed broadband access, no? And then there might be some applications that will need more advanced requirements, so or updates. So again, we'll try to inform you if there are some lecturers who will be using certain applications. We'll try to do that beforehand as much as possible so that uh everyone will be prepared. So yeah. So yeah, but there are some lecturers who like using interactive platforms. So you might require other gadgets. No? Okay, for your attendance and participation, so in the blended curriculum, submission of quizzes, examination, and participation. So those are all the things that you need to attend. Again, you must have your stable internet connection. So generally, of course, we want everyone to be professional and courteous, and then try to check your Canvas and your emails regularly. Uh, Again, as adult learners, you must be responsible for all your learning. Um, Ensure privacy. Use proper language and writing style, especially for your case discussions, and then ensure the clarity of messages before posting them. So be mindful of what you post, respect diversity, only share content from verifiable resources. So these are some general guidelines, I guess, for the online component of your learning. In terms of emails, of course, we want you to have a certain level of professionalism and formality when you use emails. So better to use your email account from the university. Don't share or forward other people's messages without your permission, and give your message a descriptive subject heading. So better to have a signature line in your email and be respectful of others' time and bandwidth. So again, for the discussion boards, make sure that you're in the correct or appropriate group. Keep the post relevant. Make a habit of reading the messages in the thread. And then also check, you might be repeating someone else's same sentiment or message. No? So and again, people can disagree, but maybe it's better to be respectful and non-critical. So for your video conferencing, I mean, this is like during the Zoom. So again, the virtual classroom will serve as a real session. So you should be dressed accordingly, wearing your school uniform with the nameplate. Better to check regarding your connection, your if everything's working correctly ahead of the meeting, because of course sometimes the excuse will be that you have you have poor connection and everything. But yeah, I mean, you should be able to be responsible for that ahead of time. So it's not during the meeting that you'll be having trouble trying to fix your connection and everything. So make sure that your workspace is clear so that you're in a better headspace as well when you listen to the lectures. So yeah, better being on time. So again, if we get to start earlier, we get to finish earlier. So I appreciate everyone who came in early for this class, and also allowing us to wait a few minutes before starting to wait for the other um your other batchmates, no? So when you attend the meeting, you type in your name. So better if you put in your year section, your last name and your um first name in that order. So the example is from Dr. Bernabe. And then so this is your prescribed uniform. So this is what you should be wearing during your meetings and your lectures, I mean, and also your face-to-face classes when you there are any interactions, face-to-face interactions. May it be like exams, your preceptorial classes. So anytime that you are coming into the school in an academic capacity, you should be wearing your uniform. So even if you're doing interviews with your patients or your ward work, you should be coming in your prescribed uniform. So we'll only be allowing students into the class. So again, you can mute or unmute your audio accordingly. Um, so you just turn on your video, and then you can use the chat box again if you need to. But yun, it's more difficult for a lecturer to, depending on their setup, to always check the chat box. But we'll try to see how we can facilitate that. Um so that for those who are, I guess, shy to speak up during lectures, no. It's better to stay focused, so you try to avoid other distractions when you're doing online sessions. So close unneeded applications or the notifications, and then yeah, you try to hold off eating and if you can, but it's okay, I guess, if it's not very distracting. And then also avoid doing private things because it might become also embarrassing for everyone, no. So try to maintain your privacy, and um if ever you do want to take screenshots or record, you have to ask for permission from the lecturer. If not, that's a violation of uh, the intellectual property of your lecturer. So for your course objectives, so at the end of the course, and also, I mean, the materials are also given to you beforehand in your canvas, no. So I mean, the materials are already there. So if during the synchronous session, it's really something that you have to take ask permission for, because all the materials in the canvas, syempre it's allowed by the lecturer. So yan. So for your course objective, so given a patient or a pediatric patient with an illness, the student should be able to come up with the most probable diagnosis through a logical and orderly process of, so enumerating the probable diagnosis or your differential diagnosis, identifying and requesting for key relevant information. So this is doing your history taking, your PE examinations, and requesting for your appropriate laboratory results, and then correctly interpreting all the available data you have. So you have to demonstrate understanding of the pathology of the disease. So the etiopathogenesis, any morphologic changes, signs and symptoms on the basis of those morphologic or molecular alterations, and the biochemical effects and other laboratory findings. So this means that as much as possible, we would like you to integrate everything that you have learned in your first year and second year when you correlate that with what you see with your patient, no? So you want to formulate a plan of acute and long-term management and rehabilitation if necessary. So you want to ensure also the physical and psychological well-being of the patient. So you set your therapeutic objectives, you identify and choose rational drug if it's surgical or non-surgical, and then you have to know how to write the necessary prescription and orders, no? So actually we had a little problem with this prescription writing from last year. So we'll also be having a special session on that um in one of your preceptorial classes. And then we want you to be able to discuss the prognosis, to outline the variables that are of value, and to explain how the condition can be prevented from recurring or occurring in the patient or spreading and affecting other members of the family and the community. Okay? So for your lectures, uh you'll have again your synchronous and your asynchronous lecture. So your synchronous lectures here, no? So your schedule is during Thursday mornings for your synchronous lectures. So your asynchronous lectures will be uploaded in Canvas. So yan, prior to the scheduled plenary lecture. So like for example, next week you'll be starting with your synchronous lecture. This weekend we'll be uploading your asynchronous lecture. So it's best if you are already able to watch the lecture or that's posted prior to the plenary, no? So sometimes the plenary will just be emphasizing certain things in the lecture. Sometimes it will be in a Q&A format or a case discussion format, no? So again, this is the format that we want to follow, no? So um for your quizzes regarding the lecture, this will be given during the preceptorial time. So attendance will also be checked by Aldrin, Mr. Aldana. So best to turn on all your videos at all times. Okay, so some reminders again or advisory from the dean's office. So all semestral courses will administer 3 long examinations and a final summative assessment at the end of each semester. For annual subjects, this will be 6 long examinations and a final summative assessment. So for this first semester, we'll have 3 long examinations, no? Because the summative assessment will be in the second semester. And then uh long examinations, so may that be your long exam or your practical exams or OSCEs, they will be face to face. um we also have quizzes, but the quizzes will um will be a summative quiz, no? So again, because this will be graded, so the students uh, okay. Okay. For this, no, this is a quiz of formative quizzes, no. But I will be discussing our policy regarding quizzes later, no. And then the minimum passing grade is 75%. So for the policy of makeup examinations, you have to check your student handbook for that. And then the questionnaires will not be returned to students after the examination. So usually questionnaires with all the exam questions will be shredded. So for our purposes, there are no remedial or removal examinations um for first to third year level. Okay? So this is what I was going to talk about, no? So the quizzes, they're all summative. Actually, they're already scheduled within your within the semester. So this will be uploaded in your Canvas. So they're all announced. If ever there will be changes to the schedule, they will be announced. And then the quizzes will be given during your precept time. Uh, if you are not able to take the quiz, this will be merited as an absence. And for the preceptor or for the quizzes that are given during the preceptorials, so we will not be um giving makeup quizzes.
Honey, can I just say something? So
Ah, yes.
the new policy that has been reinforced no this academic year, that we can give a makeup quiz. So that will be applied no to those who were absent during the first quiz that was conducted during the preceptorial class. So for example, a student missed a quiz during a precept time, whether excused or unexcused, they must apply for a makeup quiz with corresponding fees depending if it will be granted as excused or unexcused. And then the time that we will be giving a makeup quiz already and the student is still absent, it will be marked 0. So no more another makeup quiz. So we can give a quiz pa after the first that was conducted during the precept time.
Okay po. Okay
Oo.
po.
So we can
Okay.
still give, so
Oo.
that's clear, so they can be given a chance for the first time, but the second time that they will be no more second time, so it will be automatically 0. Pero you're right that they are absent during the precept time. If they miss the quiz, they will be marked absent already. Since we will be giving the quiz within the first 15 minutes of the precept time, so they will be marked absent na if they miss the quiz. So it will be counted as absent for the preceptorial meeting. So it will be summed up with all the missed or absent uh, meetings for all synchronous activities, including this one. And then if they incur 20%, they will have an incomplete grade, or failure due to absences. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So yes, thank you, Dr. Bernabe. So again, um, we're very fortunate that Dr. Bernabe is here with us so that she was able to clarify this at once. So yeah, you'll be given a chance to get a makeup quiz. So disregard number 4 from this slide. So yeah, but then again, if you're not able to take the quiz the first time, this will be merited as an absent. So um uh and then based on the letter that you give or the excuse that you will give, we will see whether it's an unexcused or an excused absence, but you will be given a chance to take up makeup quiz. So if it's an excused absence, uh you don't have to pay fees. But if it's unexcused absence, yan, you will have to pay the corresponding fee. Okay? So again, from the dean, there were some reminders regarding the conduct of the exam results and feedback. So all students will be receiving a new student code for the academic year. I think there was some problems with some students receiving the same codes. So the student code will be utilized for the release of the long exam results and academic standing. So depending on the department, the individual student grades can also be released through Canvas, no? And then for your long exam feedback, this should be done within 2 weeks. So So we want to prioritize items that the student found difficult and then post questions, correct answer, and the rationale. So again, all of these will be posted on your Canvas. So if you have any clarification of questions, you may do so in the discussion board up to 1 week after the examination. So try to give your clarifications within a week. And then again, the exam feedback will be done through Canvas, and then you can post your questions on the discussion board. For your preceptorials, your preceptorial objectives. So the preceptorials are small group discussions that are done to supplement your the didactic lectures, and also to be able to actually practice what we're learning during the past few years, no, in school. So you'll be able to do actual history and PE on pediatric patients and practice immunization skills and other parts of the skills checklist, no. So for your course objectives, again, we want you to develop good attitude in the clinic, so be punctual, exhibit proper decorum and respect to everyone, and then of course having correct bedside habits, especially in handling pediatric patients. You need to develop rapport with the informant. So again, you have an extra person that you need to also consider when you do your patient interactions, also developing rapport with the patient and practicing your communication skills. So you want to get a complete pediatric history that's pertinent to your patient's age and problem. You want to perform a correct physical exam that's pertinent again to your patient's age and problem. So again, of course, it's different depending whether your patient is a newborn, an infant, or a young child or an adolescent, right? So yeah, and you always get your anthropometrics. And then in terms of arriving at your diagnosis and differential diagnosis, you want to explain the basis for the assessment and the basis for ruling in and out your differentials. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you also want to discuss the manifestations and disease process in relation to the basic discipline. So that you can still integrate what you have learned from first year, the second year, up to now, you're integrating everything with your patient. No? So actually, this is also better in terms of understanding what's going on with your patient. Uh, so it will be easier for you to explain that to your patient. But also, I mean, in terms of when you're already like preparing for, like, for example, the board examinations, no? So if you're able to integrate all of that, that's definitely going to help you in those situations. So you apply the problem-oriented approach in formulating management plans. So even in deciding what diagnostics to request, also your supportive plan and your treatment plan. And then you organize the data in a grammatically correct, accurate, and concise case discussion, which is why we will still have reports. No, review the case in during our preceptorial sessions and participate actively during the discussion. So in terms of your summative evaluations, you'll also have a oral case presentation at the end of the year. So for your preceptorial classes or schedule of preceptorial um classes, you have your preceptorials and your ward work. So for section A, this is Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. for your preceptorials, and your ward work will be during Friday 10 to 12 noon. And then for section B, your preceptorials is Friday 1 to 3, and your ward work will be Wednesday 1 to 3. And then for section C, your preceptorials will be Thursday 1 to 3, and your ward work will be on Tuesday 10 to 12. Actually, due to the number of students that we have, no, and of course, we're trying to also uh, make it, I guess, more convenient also for the pediatricians who are also very busy, who have kindly taken on um uh what do you call that, preceptorial classes with you. Some of the schedules or of the preceptors will be taking on yung ward work time, no? So we'll also be announcing those groups that might have their preceptorial time during their ward work time instead. But for the ease of giving the quiz, your quiz will still be given during your preceptorial time. Even if your preceptor is available during your ward work time. So I mean, just instead of sometimes you'll just have to switch depending on the preceptor's schedule. So for your written report, um, there are formats that are uploaded on Canvas. So again, this is to be submitted on the day of the preceptorial meeting to the preceptor. It will depend on your preceptor what their preference would be regarding submission. And then there are also evaluation tools for both the written report and the preceptorial meeting. So for your OSCE, this will be conducted during um your preceptorial schedule. So this will be announced, no? Usually in the first semester we'll have a formative OSCE, and in the second semester we'll have a summative OSCE. For your oral case presentation, this will be done in the second semester as a summative activity. So it's a group activity, and you will be presenting. So there of course will be an evaluation tool for this. So this is presented during preceptorial time, and you also have peer evaluation, which will be factored in your grades. So for the pediatrics 2 grading system, for your written examinations, um this will comprise most of your grade, and it's all 12.5% of your grade per examination. Your final exam is going to be a little heavier, no? So it's 15% of your final grade. And the quizzes that will be given prior to your preceptorial time is at 10%. So for a total of 100% for your grades, no? So for our EPA, or I mean, this is what we do during your preceptorial time. So you should be able to attend at least 80% of the scheduled activities, no? So you should attain a grade of at least 75% in the following for to be able to pass, no? So you have to that will include your preceptorials. Again, your formative is not graded, but your summative OSCE will have a numerical grade. And again, this should be passed, no? So um these are your summative evaluation. So your OSCE and your oral case presentation, you should be able to pass this for you to be able to pass the um your preceptorials, no? So your summative grade will be recorded both in number and letter equivalent. And then if you receive a failed grade in the following, so for your preceptorials, it must be completed in the following academic year, no? So for your OSCE, if you fail your OSCE, you will be given a remedial. Okay? But then if you still fail the remedial OSCE, this will be completed in the following academic year. And then for your oral case presentation, if you are not present during your oral case presentation, so an individual case, or if you fail your oral case presentation, an individual case presentation must be presented at least 1 week after the final exam. So again, your OSCE and your oral case presentation are summative evaluations that also must be passed for you to be able to pass the course, no? So there. So yeah, we will have again number and letter grades, and then um yeah, so only the summative letter equivalent will be shown to the student, and then but each component will have its own score or grade. Okay. So these are the textbooks that we'll be using. Your Nelson's textbook of pediatrics is still the main reference. And then for other reference, we use your fundamentals of pediatrics for more locally relevant um reference for pediatrics. For physical exam and history taking, we use the Bates, and of course the WHO growth charts. So some of the advisory that we need to remember regarding student conducts during examination. So again, you're required to come in your complete uniform during examinations. You're not allowed to bring your bags, but you can carry a clear plastic envelope if you really need to bring any personal belongings, no? So of course, we try to encourage that you do not come in tardy. So, the rules regarding tardiness is follows even during exams. So, maximum of 40 minutes allowed for a 2-hour exam, 20 minutes for a 1-hour exam. Beyond which, the student is no longer allowed inside the examination room. So there will be no time extension if you come in late. Okay? So cheating will not be tolerated. So any acts of dishonesty during any examination. So again, of course, yun, cheating, intention to cheat, unauthorized use of information, materials, devices, or practices in completing academic activities. If you're talking with someone, uh, to in the talking with someone in another device, or to someone actually face to face in the room, if you're whispering or reading questions out loud during exams, making unnecessary noises, making suspicious movements that appear like searching for something, appearing to look at certain materials, verbalizing plans on accessing materials that are relevant to the examinations, and other similar acts. No? So let's try to avoid these types of behaviors. If there's plagiarism on any academic output, such as your written or your verbal reports, your research manuscripts, and any other thing, no? So again, plagiarism would be adopting another person's ideas or words without acknowledging the source. So if you do copy and pasting material into your own report without proper citation, this is considered plagiarism. So if you use any material in your reports, it's best to always include your references. So fabrication or falsification of any academic output, again, if you create or alter any information, or you artificially create data um when it should be collected, or making up source of information that does not exist. So again, of course, during your interviews, no, parang sometimes it might sound better if it's presented a certain way, but just make sure that it's accurate to what is the truth of the patient, no? So if there are any announcements, this will be coursed through your canvas. So we'll also have interaction with the class presidents and the liaison officers. So, yeah. Ayun. Okay, so these are the references that we used for this orientation. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez. So would like to reiterate lang that makeup examinations that we give, no, for everyone's information, that any makeup exam in pediatrics 2 will be given as we will be giving an essay type of examination. So para lang alam na nila as early as of this time during the orientation that the makeup examination that we will be giving for this academic year and even last year is not a multiple choice type of questions for makeup exam. It will be essay type. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. There are some questions regarding the schedule. Tama ba? Yung preceptorial time of section A is Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. And then the ward work time is Friday 10 to 12 a.m. 10 a.m. to 12 noon. For section B, it's Friday 1 to 3 p.m. and then ward work is at Tuesday 10 to 12. Tama ba? Yun ba yung is that the question? And then for section C, preceptorial time is Thursday 1 to 3 with your ward work at Wednesday 1 to 3. Is that okay? Does that answer the questions?
That is for this semester. Kasi Pediatrics 2 is a year-long subject. So by second semester, there will be changes in the preceptorial meetings as well as the ward work time. So what Dr. Lopez has mentioned and shown to you earlier is the schedule for first semester. May mali ba dun sa, I think tama naman. So Wednesday is section A. Ayan, someone is raising her hand.
Yes.
Hi, Doc. Kasi po yung schedule doon sa orientation slides, it varies po kasi with what was given to us sa composite schedule po. But what you mentioned po kanina, Doc Lopez, yun po yung schedule na nakasulat sa composite schedule that was given to us from ICS.
So instead of what I mentioned, what was the schedule that was sent to you sa orientation or presented to you? Sorry, hindi ko maintindihan yung sinend mong graphic.
Kasi po, Doc, yung sa pinost nyo po kasi sa slides, let's say for section C po, yung ward work that was given to us from the orientation slides that you have now, Tuesday po yung nakalagay. Pero ang ward work po talaga ng section C is 1 to 3 on a Wednesday and then preceptorial po Thursday. So nagkalito lang po doon sa schedule of classes that was presented on your slides po kanina and doon sa composite schedule namin, Doc. So which one
Okay,
po do we
sorry.
follow?
Sorry. Oh, yan, what I mentioned just now.
Okay po,
Yeah.
Doc. Thank you po.
Sorry. I might have had a mistake in the slide. Sorry. Okay.
The one in section C ba? Are we pertaining to section C? Thursday, precept time, ward work, Wednesday, 1 to 3.
Yes.
Tama?
Yes po.
Okay.
Yes po,
Alright.
Doc.
Okay,
Opo.
thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. So yung sa slide lang
Yes,
naman yung
sorry.
nabaga.
Mm. Okay, do you have any other questions or concerns regarding the orientation? Or any clarification? Actually, I'll be discussing na lang muna with your presidents and your liaison officers how best you want to what do you call that? Do info dissemination and stuff like that. And then also regarding um posting of your your ward work assignments. And so we'll see what your preference will be. Unless anyone has any suggestions right now. And then regarding there are also some questions regarding the groupings, no? Ayan, so for the preceptorials, yung actual sessions, we will be starting next week pa for your meeting with your preceptors, no? Yeah. And then but it'll just be an introductory class, so wala pa naman kayong case discussion. But next week you will be starting your ward work na. But we will schedule this, no? Parang ang gagawin natin kasi this might be too much, no, if everyone will be interviewing patients at the same time, and we don't have enough patients for everyone. So we will be dividing the schedule. So that's why yun nga, I will also coordinate with your presidents and your liaison officers regarding um how we will disseminate then this information. And then also regarding the groupings, no, I will base it on the latest um what do you call this, the latest list that will come from the registrar for the enrollees by the end of the week, so that we can just consider the changes, no? So and then I'll be again once I upload it this weekend, no? So even the announcement of the groups will also be included. Okay? So yan. What else?
Honey, I think the schedule of activities hasn't been posted yet, right? For the preceptorials.
Yes po, ma'am. Opo, opo.
Oo.
Again, ma'am,
We just like
i-upload
to
ko.
emphasize that we have no control in the patients that you will be interviewing. So please bear with the department, especially to Dr. Lopez, that she might be giving a patient just prior to your ward work time. Pwedeng that morning kasi we can't predict kung there will be patients admitted in the wards, no, who will be coming at the OPD. So please bear with us that the number of patients that we encounter in the hospital is not that much to cover to all with all the groups that we have at the moment. So that's why there will be different schedule of activities for the ward work time. Okay? So please help us as well understand as well our current situation. Thank you.
Yes. So, actually, I mean, I think you're all familiar with this because you were also interviewing patients from second year, right? So, ayan, no, it's really difficult for us to provide the patients that you need because of the number of students right now, no? But we'll try our best to accommodate everyone. That's why what we did is that we'll probably divide the groups, no? So maybe the first half of section A, B, and C will be interviewing for next week, and the week after it will be the second half of sections A, B, and C. Parang ganun yung gagawin nating strategy. And then ayan, again, I will upload naman the schedule so that it will be I guess clear for everyone, no? So, but yeah, we're trying our best naman to accommodate everyone. So, if you have any concerns or questions or any problems, especially in the course of your ward work, just inform me. So, we'll try to do what we can to address those concerns. So, and then just for the purposes of this session for the orientation, so we want to make sure that you guys understand what was discussed today. So we want you to also sign a conforme, no, that you were able to understand what was discussed today. So I'm sending here in the chat the file or the PDF file, and also a Google form where you will um upload the signed document. Okay? So, ayan po. So, any other questions, concerns? So, you can, ano naman, you can ask or message me if what do you call it, if you don't want to do it right now or you're still percolating or thinking about it, no? Okay? 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 So I guess that's it. Uh Unless you have any questions or concerns, we can all enjoy the rest of the day. Okay. Thank you everyone. Thank you for coming in and listening. Okay.
Thank you po,
Thank
Doc.
you.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you,
Okay.
Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Po, Doc.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank
Doc.
you.